There are three important pieces of real estate that LinkedIn gives you to communicate your message to your target audience as part of your shop window. And the first thing people generally notice is your photo. And this needs to be a business photo, a professionally taken photo. I see many mistakes on the photo. People in casual, perhaps casual dress, on a social excursion. But LinkedIn is a business platform. And if you're using your LinkedIn profile for job search purposes, it needs to be a professionally taken business photo. Whether it's black or white or colour doesn't really matter. The background should be fairly neutral, and you should have a smile on your face. Of course, we as human beings, we respond very well to people who smile. It sends a warm message, and it might just invite the viewer of your profile to stick around for a while and to read on, and that's really what you're aiming for. An important point, but often seen as a minor point, is the angle of your body. And you'll notice in this photo, my shoulders are twisted slightly to the left. And what that does, it tells, through my body language, tells the reader of my profile that they need to look this way and look down towards my profile. Now, I see other photos where the shoulders are turned the other way. And without consciously thinking about it, somebody viewing your profile is then diverted off the page, or could be diverted off the page. And this is all about small details to increase the probability of somebody sticking around long enough to find out a bit more about you, potentially to get in touch. So my eye line's pretty much center, but my shoulders are pointed to the left, and that would be the advice for your photo too. The second most important thing in terms of your shop window is your professional headline, and the professional headline, which sits here at the top of your profile, is really a summary of all you have to offer. It's a summary of the value that you can add. It should spark enough interest and wow factor that somebody reading your profile would want to carry on and find out a little bit more. Now, I see people make a really big mistake with this, and I've included a document that you can download which talks about this specifically. And people put as their professional headlines sometimes, if they're in the job market currently, as currently seeking opportunities or similar. Now, that tells the reader of your profile nothing really about you. It just defines your current situation. It tells them very little about your previous skills, experience and abilities, and it tells them nothing about where you're headed or the value that you could potentially add to their business. So really avoid that. Really avoid that phrase. And if a recruiter or an employer is searching using the advanced people search on LinkedIn, are they going to search on somebody currently seeking opportunities? Well, possibly, but probably not. What they're more likely to be searching on is specific skills and experience, and that's something you need to communicate up here. So what do you need to put in here? Well, you see I use stars. I just cut and paste these in there. It just invites the reader to take a closer look at this. You want to include a clue as to what your current role is. Job title is something somebody is very likely to be searching on. You want to communicate wherever possible value add or something that's going to stand out, something that's going to wow the reader of your profile, or at least if it doesn't wow, it invites them to carry on reading. And one of the things I did a little while back is I changed my professional headline. And rather than describing myself as a career coach, which pretty much everybody else does, what I did was to describe myself as an author, international executive job search trainer, coach and cornerman. And I've had a number of inquiries about this cornerman term, and that's why I put it in there, because it sparks curiosity and it sparks people to read down the profile to find out a little bit more. So whatever you put in here, think very carefully about, and also have a read of the document you'll find here in the platform about why you shouldn't use seeking new opportunities as your professional headline, which will give you more of a clue as to what you should put in there, really to captivate interest. If you're struggling to decide what you should include as your professional headline, one of the things you can do is go into your profile, into the edit mode, and click here. And this opens up this separate tab here where you can amend your professional headline, and you can click here, which says see what others see what other users in your industry are using. And this pulls up another page. So this is going to find people in the same industry sector as me and give me a clue as to what they're using as their professional headline. Now, the reason I advise you do this is not to copy or replicate what they're doing, but it's to look at what they're doing from the viewpoint of standing out, so doing something different. And of course, the Career Codex methodology is all about observing what the majority do and doing something different as a minority. And it's exactly the same when it comes to your professional headline. And remember, of course, we spoke earlier in one of the earlier videos about the Tell Me More test. And the Tell Me More test is a messaging device that you use to communicate to a decision maker. Not necessarily a decision maker that you have targeted specifically one-on-one, but it's more of a general message to a general view as to who this decision maker might be. And the Tell Me More test has 3 elements. It has grabber and interest. It has a message, ideally a value-add message. And then, of course, it has to be memorable and mobile. And it has to be easily understood as well. That's part of your message. It has to be very easily understood. And, of course, here my thing does really what it says it is. Trainer, coach and cornerman. That's my Tell Me More test. And the memorability of that, I guess to some extent, as I've explained already, is in this word cornerman. So experiment with this. Try and pitch this in line with the Tell Me More test, and try, of course, to speak to your target your target audience. The third thing on LinkedIn, the third piece of real estate, is your background header. And what you put on your background header ideally should be a representation of your profession, your sector, or potentially your geography, or something about you that is a talking point and that will spark interest. Now, very easy to add a background. You go in here to do this. It'll ask you for a specific size of image. If you're struggling to create that size of image, you can use something called Canva, which is Canva. If you Google that, it's a way to create a template of any size, and it's a free tool that you can find online. What I use this to communicate my books. I talk about being an author. I guess that's my wow factor, if you like. And I put a visual representation of these books here because my target audience is people who are searching for their next position, and that's an immediate visual representation that tells the reader of my profile that if they are in that position of searching for that next position, that they should probably read on. So there you have it. Professional photo, professional headline, and of course the background header, which are 3 invaluable pieces of real estate that you need to get right to communicate the right shot window on your LinkedIn profile.